Hi, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to our week number 3 Twitch live stream for my intro psych classes. I hope everyone is doing well, surviving this like really hot weather that we are having. It's definitely toasty out there. I see a bunch of you getting logged in and joining me. Can you all hear me and see me okay? Is everything coming through all right on your end? Wait just a second to make sure. Okay, good. Yes. Perfect. Okay, good. I'm glad everything is coming through all right. We are in week number 3. Hard to believe it, but our first 2 weeks of the semester are over. So I don't know if you noticed, but yesterday I did get everything from weeks 1 and 2 graded. I sent out not yesterday, Monday, I sent out an email to you with some kind of general feedback. So what I want to do today and what I'll normally do once we finish 2 weeks is just to kind of share a little bit of feedback with you about some of the things that I saw. And then we will, of course, move from there to going over what we have for this week. So let's head over to Canvas together and we'll take a look just quickly at a little bit of feedback from weeks 1 and 2, just to make sure that you kind of have an idea of how people did and some things that I saw that could maybe be improved on a little bit. And then we'll focus on what we have going on this week, which is week number 3. So if we look at weeks 1 and 2, you had a couple of things, right? So you had discussion 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then exam number 1. And I sent out this feedback on Monday night, but just kind of to share a little bit with you. So for discussion number 1, a lot of you did a beautiful job of describing nature and nurture and what you think of with the field of psychology and the subfields. The biggest spot that people lost points was on this last bullet, either not quite giving me enough. A few people didn't define nature and nurture. A few people defined them a little incorrectly. Like some people said nature was like trees and plants and stuff outside, which is true, but kind of think about nature for our class, which is more of genetics and heredity and what comes naturally to you. So the biggest reason people lost points was just not quite giving me enough on this last bullet here, or not replying to a classmate. So don't forget, you're always replying to one peer to get those 2 points. It's kind of an easy 2 points to get, so you want to make sure that you're doing those every single week. Discussion number 2, a lot of really fun like research questions that you came up with. A lot of you were interested in things like sleep. I wrote down sleep, serial killers, and studying habits, the effect of drugs. They were all over the place. There was a lot of really fun stuff that you studied or wanted to study. The biggest reason people lost points here was just not quite giving me enough. Remember to always elaborate. Think about them as almost like little mini papers. Give me lots, right? Show off your knowledge and comprehension of the materials. If you got like a 13 or a 14, you're really close. So just make sure you kind of elaborate a little bit more, and that'll be how you get up to 15 points. And then again, don't forget the peer response, as you should be doing on every single discussion. For discussion number 3 was all about neurons and how they communicate and the 10% myth. And I hope you found this to be interesting. This myth is one that's referenced all the time, and it is totally a myth. But the biggest problem here was on number 2. I was really looking for you to describe the chain of events in terms of how neurons communicate. I was looking for something with electrochemical communication. So again, as always, just try and elaborate, show off your knowledge, demonstrate to me that you get it and can apply it, and don't forget the peer response. And then the last discussion for weeks 1 and 2 was related to smell and memory. And a lot of you seem to have a great time with sniffing some random objects and thinking about the memories and associations that came up. It was funny, I was doing dishes the other day, and I opened like a coffee thermos that my partner had taken to work, and the smell of like the coffee and the coffee cream instantly reminded me of college and being up in this building on Humboldt State and like studying and thinking of school. Like these smell memories can definitely happen. They're very, very common. The biggest area here that people struggled with was number 2. I wanted you to explain about, the different parts of the brain that are involved, the limbic system. You could have talked about conditioning. If you didn't give me a really good explanation, you probably lost a couple of points here, or how you can use this knowledge in your life. Some of you just kind of broadly mentioned it, but it wasn't very specific. So again, for the most part of what I saw, a lot of you got 13, 14, 15 points. Biggest reasons for losing points was not replying to a classmate or just not quite giving me enough to show me that you understand the question. So just some things to keep in mind as we move into these next weeks. One last comment here as well as far as the exam goes, and I have this written down over here. I posted all of the grades for exam number 1. And the average amount of time that people took was 59 minutes, so just shy of an hour. So most of you had more than enough time. The average score was an 88%, so just shy of an A, right? So a very high B, a lot of A's, a lot of B's on the exam. Most of you did a really, really good job. Someone asked, I have a question, if you respond to a post of a student that has dropped, does your response show up? Yes. So if somebody drops and you post, it will still show up under your name for the week. So yes, it definitely does still show up. Okay. So as far as exam number 1 and the first 4 discussions, you're welcome. I would really love to encourage you to use that as a learning opportunity. So if you are happy with your score on the first exam and the first discussions, keep doing the exact same thing. If you wish you had done a little bit better, now is a wonderful time to kind of shake things up a little bit. So we have 4 exams in this class, lots of discussions. So if you wish you had done a little better on the test, maybe study a little differently next time. If you didn't do the study guide, do the study guide. If you want, you could try studying 1 chapter at a time or 1 week at a time. But this is just a good opportunity for you to kind of evaluate. And one of the things you're going to be doing this week is kind of assessing where you're at, just to help you kind of think about that a little bit more. But I'll get to that in a minute. So just kind of use this as a chance to see, am I happy with what I'm doing? Do I need to change anything? And a lot of you, pats on the back, a lot of you should be feeling good. A lot of great scores in the first 2 weeks. Several of you did the extra credits. Remember that these extra credit opportunities are available for you every single Twitch live stream. I will give you an extra credit question. Those 2 points would help make up for maybe a missed peer response or like a couple of points off the discussion or exam. So remember, in order to get that, you need to either join me live or be subscribed and watching it later. And then you answer the question that I'll give you in a little bit. So again, really nicely done. We move on to weeks 3 and 4 this week. So we are in the 2nd, 4th of our class. So everything from weeks 3 and 4 is due by Sunday, September 10th at 11:59 p.m. So you have all of this week and all of next week to work on these things. I'm going to focus on week number 3 since that was where we are at today. And then next week when I see you, I will focus on week 4 and I'll talk about the 2nd exam and so on. Any questions, comments, thoughts, anything at all before I jump into week number 3? I just want to make sure if you have a question that I'm not ignoring you. Any questions or anything for now? I think that's a happy face. Right. All right. Nope. Okay, good. If you think of anything, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, this week we start week number 3. And our topics for this week are consciousness and learning. 2 very, I think, interesting and kind of core topics of the fields. Consciousness is probably my favorite chapter. It's really interesting talking about like sleep and dreams and hypnosis and all that kind of stuff. So as usual, you're going to want to read the chapter in the ebook. So read chapter 5 and 6 in the ebook. And then you'll want to go through my lecture and, of course, watch the lecture video. So remember 3 things for every single chapter. So, for example, if we look at the lecture for consciousness, remember you can listen to it or you can read it or both. The first page is always a summary. And then beyond the book, and I have a couple of kind of fun videos in here on change blindness and inattention blindness, so I hope you watch them. Sleep tutorials, a little bit about nightmares and sleep disorders and energy drinks. Again, click on anything I give you, watch all the videos together. It's going to make it a little more rich and like interesting, and then also help you to understand. Lots of great movies related to sleep and dreams and drugs and hypnosis. Here's a scene from Step Brothers about sleepwalking. I have a scene here about Red Bull from the movie Yes Man, and then lots of other examples here in the list. Here are all the key terms that you need for this chapter. So if you wanted to study one chapter at a time, these are all the things that you would need to know from this chapter that you might start preparing. And then finally, on the last page is a little bit about dream recall and analysis. I have some fun websites for dream analysis, a video I made about how to help you remember your dreams, which might come in handy for the discussion this week. So again, remember to watch everything, click on everything. Don't forget to read the chapter in the book, watch the videos for the lecture, and then read through the lecture as well. And it's totally up to you. Someone said, is it best to read first, then read the lecture? So for me, I would prefer to read the textbook first because it gives you kind of a broad overview. But it's completely up to you. If you would rather do the lecture first, that's fine. Whatever is comfortable. Somebody said, I sleepwalk sometimes. Yeah, there's a lot of people that sleepwalk. It happens during stage 4 of sleep. My partner sometimes sleep talks. She'll just start talking in her sleep. Sleep is interesting. There's a lot of really interesting things that happen when we're sleeping and a lot that we don't know, right? Somebody said, I apparently unlocked a hotel door on the 12th floor and walked in the hall. Oh my goodness, right? Oh, wow, that's wild, right? That's crazy. I sleepwalk when I eat cheese. Interesting, and there's a lot of history looking at things that might influence things like sleepwalking and sleep talking. So things like with food, things with being really tired. Night terrors are another thing. My daughter tends to have night terrors, and she gets them when she's really overtired or we're staying somewhere new. Like if we go stay in a random Airbnb house, she oftentimes will have a night terror. She's starting to outgrow them, thankfully. But there's a lot of things like that. You had a whole conversation with myself when I was sleeping. My ex thought I was crazy, right? So moral of the story, don't eat cheese and don't have conversations in your sleep, right? So yeah, a lot of interesting things like that. So like I said, chapter 5 is a really interesting chapter. I hope you enjoy reading through it and watching all the videos. Do the same thing for chapter 6. Cheese is so good. I will agree with you. Cheese is delicious, right? So eat cheese and then just know that you're going to sleepwalk, right? Chapter 6 is on learning. I will give you a heads up. Chapter 6 is probably one of the more challenging chapters that we cover this semester. And the reason for that is there's a lot of terminology. So of all the chapters, make sure that you watch all my videos, click on all those links. It's really going to help. The lecture video will help. The chapter will help. So just know that chapter 6 is a little bit hard, right? Sometimes people struggle with some of the terminology with classical and operant conditioning. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Sometimes it helps just to know that it is a little bit more challenging. You do have 2 discussions this week, as usual. So let's take a look at those together. Discussion number 5, as always, here are my instructions and my video, so make sure you read through those and watch that. This one is looking at dreams. So I want you to watch my little video here. I give you some tips for how to remember your dreams, and I give you an example as well. You're going to read this article about dreams, dream theories. We don't know where dreams come from, but in this article, it goes over some of the kind of big theories. And then what I want you to do, and you have 2 weeks for this, luckily, is I want you to select a dream that you had recently and still remember with a little bit of detail and that you don't mind sharing. You're going to briefly describe your dream and then explain your dream from a minimum of 2 of the different theories in the article or the book. Really important, you're going to make sure that you describe the theory that you've selected. So show me that you understand the theory, and then you're going to apply it to your dream. So for example, if you had a dream, I always have these dreams that I'm competing on Top Chef because I watch a lot of food TV before I go to bed. And so I'll have a dream that I'm competing on Top Chef, and then halfway through it, I'll realize that I don't know how to cook, right? And so I'm going to describe my dream a little bit, and then I'm going to describe the theories that I think are relevant and connect them to the dream. I would like to ask, right, don't share a dream if it has anything to do with me, right? So if you have a dream about murdering me or something like that, wait for another dream. I had somebody share one with me once and then it just felt awkward. So wait for a dream that you remember. If you really struggle to remember your dreams, I gave you lots of tips. You could also share an older dream or like a reoccurring dream. Or you could also share a dream of somebody else that you know and kind of have them help you to describe it. Yep. Somebody shared that with me once. It was nice and awkward, right? It was in person too. They were like, I murdered you brutally. I'm like, why would you tell me that? Now I can't look at you the same way. And see, a lot of people have really odd dreams. Yeah, it's definitely, common. And then there's dreams, like you said, you had a dream about sushi. It could be as mild and simple as that, or it could be meaningful, which is why there are so many different theories as to why we dream. So whatever one you want to share, run with it, describe it. And then also, why do you personally think that we dream? Used to have a reoccurring one where you were in a mouse suit and getting chased by a big cat. I love it, right? I mean, I have a reoccurring dream that I'm in a haunted house. And it's like haunted and terrifying and scary. Like, it's really common to have reoccurring dreams. Freud thought they were super, super meaningful. So it can be a new dream, an old dream, just something that you feel comfortable sharing. And then you're going to describe those dream theories and how they connect. The other discussion that we have this week is related to learning, just to kind of give you a little more chance to practice with that. As always, here are my instructions. Here's my little video. So this one, you're going to be watching a clip from The Office, and I'm sure many of you have seen this clip before. It's a clip with the Altoid and him sticking his hand out. So you're going to be describing, what's happening in this clip, thinking about classical conditioning. How was Jim able to condition Dwight? What are the different terms going on? Identify the US, UR, CS, and CR that are in the clip. And if you don't know what these things are yet, you will after reading the book and the lecture. Yeah, it's a great show, right? I've only watched a few episodes, but it's always funny. And then finally, other than amusing pranks, describe one way that you could use classical conditioning in your personal, academic, or social life. Be sure that it's classical conditioning. As a heads up, if you use the term reward or punish, it's probably operant conditioning. So just make sure that it's classical. Make sure that you describe like what's happening and identify the components of it. This is where people tend to lose points. So I'm just giving you that heads up. Make sure that, again, if you're describing this, right, if you're describing how you might condition yourself to do something, what are the different elements of it, what's happening, and again, make sure that it's classical conditioning and not operant. The other thing that we have this week, let me go back here. Look at it, just keeps booting me down here. So the other thing you have this week is a little short self-assessment. And this is only worth 5 points, but it's an easy 5 points, so you definitely want to make sure that you get it. So if we click on this together, what's happening with this self-assessment is I want you to reflect on your progress so far in the class. So we finished our first unit, and I want you to think about your grades, your approach, everything that you're doing. You love 5 points. I love that. I love to give you 5 points, right? It's a very easy 5 points to get. So what you're doing with this is going to answer a couple of questions about how you approach the class. I'm doing my part to learn as much as possible. On average, how much time am I spending? I'm consistently doing the reading and turning things in. And then this one, what's your muddiest or most unclear point so far? And thinking about your score on exam 1, is there anything you'd like to do differently moving forward? And then you'll hit submit. You have as much time as you want. Very easy. Please be honest. I won't think less of you or better of you depending on your answers. So be honest with yourself. Be honest with me. My goal with this is just to get you to think about what you're doing and if you want to change anything moving forward. 5 points is a steal. That's hilarious. You're all funny today. I like this. I love it. Thank you for all the comments and interacting. You definitely want and need those 5 points. Very easy to get. So take a few minutes to fill that out, and that's going to help you hopefully just to kind of evaluate where you're at as we finish the first fourth of the semester in class. Okay, I will obviously post this recording a little bit later today once we're done and I've downloaded it and uploaded it, so you can keep an eye out for that later on. And then I have the extra credit question I'll give to you in a moment. I do have a couple of quick reminders really fast, so let me post those here. Excuse me, bless me. can we add 5 more minutes to the exam? So I wish that we could, right? So it's plenty of time. What you might want to do is kind of think about what you're doing. Thank you. What you're doing, and then if you want to change anything. So if you've done the study guide and you're preparing, it should be plenty of time. Thank you all for the bless yous. The average amount of time, like I said, is about 59 minutes or so. Okay, so 59 minutes was, so a lot of you had more than enough time. Don't be getting sick. Yeah, no kidding. We had a COVID outbreak in my in-person abnormal psych class. So I have my at-home COVID test, right? It was negative, thankfully. But yeah, there's so much of it going around. Cases are on the rise. There's a lot of colds in the fall. So, take care of yourselves. I'm trying to do the same for sure. So unfortunately, I'm not going to add more time, but I would be happy to talk with you a little bit more about some like testing strategies and things like that if you would like. Okay. I know, I'm so sick of COVID. I had to wear a mask today to my class. We were required to wear masks, and I haven't had to wear a mask like that in over a year, and it was tough. I don't know if it's ever going to end, right? I imagine we're going to be dealing with COVID for a long time. So, okay, so one reminder, I posted this up here in the chat. I have a couple reminders for you. Make sure that you double check your subscription status. I'll remind you every week. Next week, we're in week 4, and so a lot of people are going to fall off. So if you could just take a quick check to make sure that you're still subscribed. If you've never done it, you can still do this, and I really appreciate it. I just started coaching 2 soccer teams and a softball team, and I'm very busy. So I appreciate those of you who are subscribed. It makes my life much easier. I can download your attendance. The other reminder that I have for you, if you're looking at our schedule here, our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, September 6th at 11:30 a.m. Okay, so I'm just going to put that here in the chat that we will have a live stream for week 4 next week on Wednesday at 11:30. And on that week, I will go over week number 4. I'll go over the exam and so on. Someone asked, do you need to resubscribe every month? So it's every 30 days. So the free Twitch subscription is good for 30 days, and then it falls off. So I'll show you next week how you renew that. It's super simple, but you do need to take like 30 seconds to do that, which is a little annoying, but it's nice that it's free. So I guess they make us renew it so that it doesn't just keep doing it. Yeah, of course, and I'll be happy to show you that next week as well. And again, next week we have our meeting at 11:30 on Wednesday. Okay, so let me give you the extra credit question, show you where and how you can answer that, and then I will hang out to see if you have any questions for me. So I wrote this out for myself. Let me show you where you can find this video as well. So here is the week number 3 Twitch extra credit question. I'm going to put it here in the chat. Okay, so there is a clip called Attack of the Quack, and I'll show you in a minute where you can find it. In the clip, I want you to identify the US, UR, CS, and CR. Okay, so you're not describing what those are, but you are identifying them in the clip. Okay, so let me show you where you can find that on Canvas. If you go to the lecture on learning, all right, and then the last page where it says application, there's a little video down here at the bottom called The Attack of the Quack. It's a funny little prank. It's only a minute and a half. So this is the video that you are going to watch. And then after you're done with it, what is the unconditioned stimulus, the unconditioned response, the conditioned stimulus, and the conditioned response? So you're going to identify those 4 elements in this. And so if you go back to week number 3, which is where we are at, you'll click on Twitch Extra Credit number 3 right here, and that's where you can go to answer the question to get those 2 points. Up at the top, you hit Start Assignment, and then in the text box, you can type your response. And when you're done, you'll hit Submit. You get the little confetti burst and little pinwheels in there this time around. So again, this is worth 2 points. A lot of you have been doing these. You can do these every single week. This isn't due until next Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So you have a little bit of time for that. About to steal those 5 points out, and you can have two more here. Look, I'm just handing out the points today. So I hope you take the time to do this. It's definitely kind of an easy points to get. It's my way of rewarding you for joining me and for answering those extra credit questions. And remember, if you're watching this later as a recording, you can still get those 2 points if you are subscribed on Twitch. So get going on week number 3. Read chapter 5 and 6 in the book. Go through the lecture and the video. Complete discussions 5 and 6 and the short self-assessment. And then, of course, you can do this little thing right here as well, the extra credit for 2 points. Look at you all are so nice. You loved the stream. I'm glad. You love the confetti. Love the points, love the confetti, love the stream. Don't love Wednesdays though, right? Wednesdays aren't the best days of the week. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I will hope to see you next week at 11:30. I will hang out for a little bit if you have any questions for me. Otherwise, we're at about like a half hour of time. So I'll hang out for a little while, but don't forget you can do the extra credit question right here. Get going on week number 3. And I will hope to see you all next week for our week 4. Next week's week 4 will be almost halfway done with the semester. It's wild, right? Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I hope you all have a great week. Stay cool out there. It's going to be hot again today, and then it's going to start cooling down. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you so much for all of you who joined me on here live. There was a lot of you today, and I love it. Thank you so much. I will see you all next week on Wednesday. And I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little while if you do have any questions. Okay? Thank you. Thank you as well. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend. Stay healthy, I say as I sniffle a little bit, right? Stay healthy. Thank you. You as well. Have a wonderful week. Yes, I sure will. All right. I actually feel pretty fine. I just have like a runny nose a little bit, but anytime we get sick, it's like, is it COVID? I don't know. Yeah, for sure. Literally been annoying you the whole stream. I feel you. I feel your pain. Right. Well, I hope you feel better as well. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And again, I will hang out for a little bit if you think of anything. Otherwise, I will see you all next week. Bye. See you next week. Thank you. And I am still here if any of you think of anything. Or, of course, you can always email me later if you think of something later on. All right, everyone, I hope you all have a great week, and I will hope to see you next week for our week number 4 live stream.